This video is about how to tie quilts. There's lots of different ways to do it. Here are just some tips for easy ways to do it. Some people prefer to, if it's a quilt that has squares, to tie the quilt on the corners of the squares. That's one way to do it. For other squares, these are a little bit bigger. You can see they tied in the center of each square. As long as you're getting a good maybe 6 to 8 inches, I usually like to use the span of my hand, kind of get to see how far apart they are. Remember, the purpose of the ties is to secure the batting, so we just want to make sure that we have enough ties to do that properly. For this particular one, they tied on the corners, but they didn't tie on every corner. They kind of went to every other one since the square is a little bit smaller. And then you see they have a pattern in the middle, and they didn't put any ties in that, and that's probably a good thing so we don't ruin that pattern at all. Now, if you're tying quilts that have stripes in them, what they did is they didn't necessarily tie in every single stripe, but kind of spaced them out again. You can see my hand span there, and they end up doing about 5 ties across. Again, the purpose is just to get them close enough so that we secure the batting in the background. And then on this one, again, they kind of did them on the edge of just the purple stripes, so it kind of blends into with the quilt very well. And again, that about 6 to 8 inches, the hand span is what they use to do that. Now, if you get a quilt that doesn't have any kind of squares or patterns on it, you kind of have to use a little judgment. What I'd like to do is about 5 across, and again, I'll kind of go in. I think they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They did 5 across. I might do 4 across, but again, you can see they have kind of that span there, and then kind of do the same thing going down so that you have an evenly distributed ties when you do that. The minimum would probably be 4 across and about 5 down, but you can kind of just make sure that they're even, that they're lined up and everything. And then sometimes you get a quilt that it doesn't really have squares, it really doesn't have stripes, and you can see there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Again, kind of use that judgment. I'd do 1, 2, 3, maybe your 4th one right there, and then go down the side of the quilt and do the same thing and kind of count out. As long as they're even, it will work out okay. So those are just some of the ways that you can tie a quilt.